Generation 9 of Pokemon introduced Terastallization, a mechanic that allows you to change your Pokemon's types. Any Pokemon can do it in Scarlet and Violet, but this is far from the first time Pokemon has explored type-changing mechanics. So that's what today's video is about. Let's take a look at all of the type-changing moves that came before Terastallization. The Porygon line has two moves that can change their types. In Generation 1, Conversion was introduced, but the way it works has changed a couple times. Originally, it changed Porygon's type to match the targets. Way back when, I beat Pokemon Blue with only a Porygon, and I used Conversion at the very start of the game. That wound up being helpful in Brock's gym battle, because his Pokemon only know normal type moves. By turning into a rock ground type myself, I resisted all of Geodude and Onix's tackles. I didn't wind up keeping Conversion for the whole game though, but it would have come in handy in plenty of other places. Half the types in Pokemon resist themselves, so I could have used my opponent's own types against them. At the end of the day though, normal types tend to have weirdly big move pools, especially the ones introduced in Gen 1, so I dropped Conversion in favor of stuff like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Psychic. Conversion was completely overhauled in Generation 2 though. Instead of matching the target's type, now it picks a move Porygon knows at random and makes it that type instead. So if I had a Porygon that knew, I don't know, Thunderbolt, Sunny Day, and Psychic, I could end up becoming Electric, Fire, Psychic, or Normal type at random, since Conversion's type can also be chosen. But wait, there's more! The move was altered yet again in Gen 6. Now Conversion can only change your type to match whatever is in your first move slot. So this is one of the rare cases where the order of your moves matters. You would have to make sure your first move is a type you actually want to change into. In Generation 2, we also got Conversion 2, and this one is mostly defensive. This move changes Porygon and friends into a random type that resists the move that last hit it. It can also become a type that's immune to said move entirely. So if Porygon 2 gets hit by Thunderbolt, Conversion 2 will make it either an Electric, Grass, Dragon, or Ground type. Even though the original Conversion was completely changed after Gen 1, we actually got a new move that works the same way in Gen 5, Reflect type. It changes the user type to match the target. Porygon and friends can't learn it, but a bunch of other Pokemon do. Tentacruel and Toedscruel, Gengar, Latias, not Latios, Omanite, the list goes on. Kecleon can also learn Reflect type, but it also has another type-changing move up its sleeve, Camouflage. This move changes your type to match the terrain of the battlefield. This could be normal terrains out in the world like water, sand, and caves, but Camouflage also reacts to the terrain moves, grassy, electric, misty, and psychic terrains. The number of types you can camouflage into varies from game to game, depending on what terrains are available. Gen 6 holds the record, with 12 different camouflage types available between X, Y, and Oras. Apparently, space is the dragon-type terrain. That's fun. This isn't all that useful outside of playthroughs though, because camouflage always defaults to normal type in link battles. Next up, here are some moves that cause the user to lose one of their types. Roost is a flying type move, and it's effectively a clone of Recover. The user heals up to half of their max HP, but unlike Recover, there's a secondary effect. If the user is flying type, that won't be taken into account during damage calculations for the rest of the turn. In Gen 4, they just ignore the flying type, and in Gen 5 onwards, the Pokemon temporarily loses the flying type entirely. In Roost's current incarnation, it can't be used by a pure flying type Pokemon to become typeless. The only pure flying types that can learn this move are Rookidee and Corvisquire. If they use it, the flying type is replaced with normal instead of being removed entirely. Losing the flying type obviously has quite a few effects on the battle. For one, you're temporarily not immune to ground type moves, so you can get hit by Earthquake if you heal before your opponent moves. You also lose all the flying type's weaknesses and resistances. Roost can't make a Pokemon typeless, but here are two moves that can: Burn Up and Double Shock. Burn Up is a 130 power fire type move, and Palmot's signature move Double Shock is a 120 power electric type move. Upon using these moves, the user loses their fire and electric type respectively, and they also can't use the move again until they regain their type. These moves actually can make a Pokemon typeless. Arcanine is pure fire type, so when it uses Burn Up, it becomes typeless, meaning it doesn't get stab on anything and every attack against it does neutral damage. Double Shock can't be learned by any pure electric type Pokemon, but according to the game's code, it would also cause them to become typeless. But what if we combine these moves with Roost? Well, the fire flying types Moltres and Ho-Oh can learn Burn Up and Roost. If they use Burn Up first to become pure flying type, then use Roost, for whatever reason they become typeless for the rest of the turn, instead of normal type like Corvisquire. Couldn't tell you why, but I guess the game still recognizes that Moltres and Ho-Oh are fire type right out of the box, so that's considered when deciding what type they should be. For more videos like this, subscribe to MEPlaysGames. Next up, here are two moves that can replace a teammate or opponent's types. Soak makes the target pure water type, and Magic Powder makes them pure psychic type, getting rid of whatever types they had before. These aren't the greatest moves in the universe though, because most Pokemon that can learn Soak are also water type, and Magic Powder is the psychic type Hatterene signature move. Water and Psychic both resist themselves, meaning if you use them on an opponent, you're likely weakening your own stab moves. If Wailord uses Soak to turn, say, an opposing Raticate from normal to water type, Wailord's Water Spout does half damage now. And they're not great moves to use on a teammate either. Since you're probably giving your teammate a type you already have, your side of the field becomes extra vulnerable to certain types of moves. If a pure water type uses Soak on their teammate, then both Pokemon on your side are weak to Grass and Electric. So if your opponent has a move like Discharge, well, you're kinda cooked. But one cool application of these moves is pairing them with Shedinja. Its Wonder Guard ability makes it immune to any move that isn't super effective. Shedinja normally has 5 weaknesses, but by using Magic Powder it'll only have 3, and by using Soak it'll have 2. A pure Water type Shedinja can only be hit by Grass and Electric type attacks, and it's immune to the other 16 types in the game. It's not the greatest strategy on Earth though, because Shedinja's still vulnerable to indirect damage, but being immune to nearly 90% of all the attacks in the game is pretty neat, and it could potentially beat a less experienced player on its own. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to Transform and Relic Song. They're not really type changing moves per se, but they trigger form changes that usually include a new type. Transform turns Ditto and Mew into the target, copying most of their attributes, including their typing. And each time you use Relic Song, Meloetta flips between its normal Psychic Aria form and its normal Fighting Pirouette form. The last 2 moves for today are Trick or Treat and Forest Curse, signature moves of the 2 Grass Ghost types in Gen 6. The former is Gorgai's signature move, and the latter is Trevenant's. Unlike the other moves we talked about so far, these moves add on to the target's original type combinations, which lets them have up to 3 types. Trick or Treat adds the Ghost type. It's not that great, but it has some interesting applications on paper. By adding the Ghost type to an opponent, they'll take double damage from Poltergeist or Phantom Force, since Ghost is weak to itself. If you're in a double battle and Gorgai's teammate is normal type, Trick or Treat can make them normal Ghost. That's a fantastic type combination, because it has 3 immunities, 2 resistances, and just 1 weakness to Dark. Doesn't really see play in practice though. Forest Curse does the same, but it adds the Grass type instead. That means it's possible to give a Pokemon an 8 times weakness. As an example, Salamence's Dragon Flying type. By making a Dragon Flying Grass with Forest Curse, it'll take 8 times damage from Ice type moves. You can also use it to make Pokemon 8 times weak to Bug, Fire, and Flying. Poison is only super effective against 2 types though, Grass and Fairy, so the best you can do is a 4 times Poison weakness. Well, that's all I got for today. Tune in next time because we'll be looking at type-changing abilities. Dash and I will try to make a Pokemon a dual Grass-Grass type, so subscribe if you want to see that, and stay tuned for more videos like this in the future. I'll see you all next time. Good night, fellas. Sleep well.